Now we will try to talk about another important thing that astrologers consider in predicting the world events. That's Paksha or lunar chart, the lunar chart basically. So a very experienced and expert astrologer, if you see, makes use of this particular lunar chart for brilliant short range predictions. So instances will be, I will try to show you some of the instances later. So there are so many predictions made by ancient Indian astrologers. One among them was the Wall Street collapse of October 1987. 1 year in advance, they tried to predict, and it happened. So the demolition of Babri Masjid in Ayodhya was hinted at by, during the communal tension in Uttar Pradesh. So it was also predicted some time ago itself, just before it's happening. So even the dismissal of the government of Kalyan Singh in the fortnight of December 1992, it was predicted, it happened in fortnight of December 1992. So before that also it was predicted, even much before that it predicted. So lunar charts, they basically help in predicting these kind of events. So whatever events that we discuss now, the Babri Masjid or the dismissal of the government of Kalyan Singh, and also the Wall Street collapse of October 1987, these events, so predicted by ancient Indian astrologers much before they happening, so by these lunar charts, you can say. So if you observe, some other expert astrologers make use of these charts to make predictions about the behavior of the stock exchanges, also in financial markets, generally the mutual funds and all the stuff. So horoscopes of the new and full moon, the new moon and the full moon. So lunar charts are based on this. So every month you can see a new moon and a full moon. New moon is called as the Amavasya day and the full moon is called as the Paurnami day, right? So some astrologers, the expert astrologers, they use these lunar charts because based on moon, whenever you're predicting, those predictions would be accurate because moon is very much nearer to earth, and whatever moon rays that are falling on the earth can really very significant, you can say. So the new moon chart and the full moon chart for every month, so these are very much important. So these charts are known as lunar charts basically. So particular attention is paid to the house where this particular lunation is taking place, as matters pertaining to that particular house would figure prominently during the year. So horoscope should be studied house by house, even though the lunation is happening in one particular house, but based on that, for each and every house, predictions can be made. So these will constitute around 24 charts at least in the year, because you can see the lunation takes place in so the new moon and the full moon, every month you have a new moon and full moon. So 2 charts for every month and 12 into 2, 24 charts for the whole year. So for example, if you see the lunation takes place in Capricorn Rashi and Rahu and Saturn are there, let us say. So the country represented by Capricorn suffers bad times because lunation is taking place in the sign of Capricorn, and the very bad planets, the very malefic planets like Rahu and Saturn are present in Capricorn. Just imagine the situation. It's a very, very difficult situation for the countries represented by Capricorn. So every sign represents some countries. So whenever lunation takes place in that particular sign, and even more Rahu and Saturn are joining that particular sign, it's going to be terrible for that country. Sometimes the country may wash away even more, because see, Rahu and just Saturn are joining there, just imagine, right? So we need to understand this particular things. So 24 charts we need to study. So It's based on of course the nakshatras where these Rahu and Saturn are also present, in that particular sign. So its people are, its people are discontented and restless. So nation as whole faces some bad times. So sometimes the whole cabinet is going to shake in that particular month. The whole political scenario is completely, completely becomes bad. So during the same month, if this lunation is taking place in the 10th house of any country, which indicates there might be death of the president or prime minister or some powerful person in the country, because 10th house of a country, if you take India, for Indian independence, if you take independence chart, then Taurus it would become the first house, so automatically Aquarius would become the 10th house. Then if you consider Pisces ascendant, then automatically the Sagittarius would become the 10th house. And if something happens in Sagittarius, you can predict the death of the the ruler of the country. But generally people are considering Taurus here, Taurus ascendant. So if Taurus ascendant, then we need to observe Aquarius, right? So depends which one you generally consider. So 10th house of any country, which indicates there might be death of the president or prime minister or some powerful person. So 10th house is really important for a nation. So see, the 6th house represents the border issues. Of course we will go through each and every house, what each house represents. We will try to make a video on that. But before that, there are some notable points here. That's one of the things. Is 6th house is border related, 7th house is related to wars, 1st house is related to existence, and 10th house. So whenever you want to predict the death of the prime minister or the ruler or the president of a nation, then you generally see the 10th house of that particular country. So lawlessness will prevail, and there may be signs of revolution also if 10th house is impacted. 10th house is one of the greatest houses that you need to observe every time, whether it is an individual horoscope or it's a country's horoscope. So if the combination occurs in the 5th house, let us say something like if the combination, so what we're talking about, so see the example that we're talking about here. The lunation is taking place in the Capricorn, and Rahu and Saturn are there. So the country represented by Capricorn will suffer. So that is one thing. And during the same month, if this lunation is taking place in the 10th house, then just imagine the head of the country may die. And if the lunation is taking place in the 5th house, there would be setback to educational system and entertainment industry, because 5th house of a nation's horoscope represents the educational system and entertainment industry. So lunation is taking place in the 3rd house of any country, then it would disrupt the rail system and communication. Even the communication is going to be very much disturbed when 3rd house is being impacted. Even in the natal horoscope, in the individual horoscopes, you see 3rd house as the communication, your focus, your concentration, your marketing ability and all the stuff, right? 3rd house in individual horoscopes can represent the short distance traveling and all the stuff. So same thing here, the same energies can be applied in the national charts. That's when 3rd house is impacted, then the rail system, which is indicating a transport system, and also the communication is generally the communication that is existing in the whole country, something like the communication of a country that's going to be impacted. So in 2nd house there will be financial chaos. It's all related on even falling exports and all the stuff, because 2nd house represents the financial stuff. So the evil effects will happen all over the world in one form or the other when 2nd house is also impacted in the world, in the sense in the particular country. So second house we generally see for financial matters, and third house for communication and transport, and you generally see the 10th house for the better government, or the lifetime, or the is there any threat to the ruler of the country. So 10th house we generally check. So lunation, where lunation is taking place, that's going to be really important. So based on the lunation we check. Okay, lunation is in the second house, so there would be some problem in the second house matters, that are financial matters of the country. The lunation is taking place in the third house, then communication may have some problem. And if the 10th house, then there would be a threat to the ruler of the country, right? So this kind of things we can understand by using this particular lunar charts. So thanks for watching this video. We will try to understand these things also in our upcoming videos in much more detail, once we complete the house representations of different countries, house representations of the mundane astrology also. And on lunation I will try to make another detailed video. Thank you.